Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt drained by someone's presence? Maybe it's a coworker who constantly complains, a friend who manipulates, or a family member who thrives on drama. Toxic people exist everywhere, and if we're not careful, they can pull us into their negativity. But here's the good news: you don't have to let them affect you. You don't have to lose your peace, your energy, or your focus because of someone else's behavior. Today, I want to share with you how to stay unbothered by toxic people, not by avoiding them entirely, but by building a mindset so strong that their negativity no longer controls you. Because the truth is, the more control you have over yourself, the less control they have over you. Let's begin. Strengthen your character. The first and most important step to staying unbothered by toxic people is to strengthen your character. If you don't have a clear sense of who you are, the opinions, criticisms, and manipulations of others will easily shake you. But when you develop a strong identity, one rooted in solid values, principles, and a clear purpose, you become resilient to external negativity. Think about it this way: if a tree has deep roots, no storm can uproot it. But if its roots are shallow, even a mild wind can knock it over. Your character is the root system that holds you firm against the pressures of toxic individuals. When you know who you are, what you stand for, and where you're going, it becomes much harder for someone else to dictate your emotions or shake your confidence. One way to strengthen your character is to define your values. What matters to you? What do you believe in? When you set firm internal guidelines for how you want to live, you don't need external approval. If you let the world decide your worth, you'll always be at the mercy of someone else's opinion. But when your confidence comes from within, no insult, manipulation, or criticism can break you. Another key aspect is self-respect. People who lack self-respect are the easiest targets for toxic individuals. Why? Because they seek validation from others. When you respect yourself, you don't need constant reassurance, and you don't tolerate disrespect. You set standards for how you allow others to treat you, and when someone crosses those boundaries, you have the inner strength to walk away. Strengthening your character also means being responsible for your own emotions. Many people allow toxic individuals to dictate how they feel. If someone criticizes them, they feel worthless. If someone gives them attention, they feel valued. This kind of emotional dependence makes you vulnerable. Instead, train yourself to control your reactions. Just because someone insults you doesn't mean you have to take it personally. Just because someone is negative doesn't mean you have to engage. Finally, remember that strong character is built through challenge. Difficult people are not just obstacles, they are opportunities for growth. Every encounter with a toxic individual is a chance to practice patience, emotional control, and self-discipline. Instead of seeing them as a source of frustration, view them as training weights. Every time you resist their negativity, you grow stronger. When you strengthen your character, you take back control of your life. Toxic people lose their power over you because you no longer seek their approval, react to their provocations, or let their negativity define your self-worth. Instead of being easily shaken, you become someone who stands firm, calm, confident, and completely unbothered. Master emotional control. One of the most powerful ways to stay unbothered by toxic people is to master your emotions. Most people don't realize this, but toxic individuals thrive on emotional reactions. They push buttons, create drama, and provoke responses because it gives them a sense of power. The moment you react with anger, frustration, or defensiveness, you've handed them control. But what if you didn't react? What if instead of getting pulled into their negativity, you remain calm and unshaken? This is the essence of emotional control, not suppressing your feelings, but mastering them so that no one else dictates how you think or feel. The power of response over reaction. There's a key difference between reacting and responding. A reaction is instant, emotional, and often regrettable. A response is thoughtful, controlled, and intentional. When you react, you allow toxic people to set the tone of the interaction. When you respond, you take back control. Imagine a coworker makes a passive-aggressive comment about your work. A reaction would be snapping back with sarcasm or anger, escalating the situation. A response would be pausing, acknowledging their words, and either addressing them calmly or choosing not to engage. The goal is not to suppress your emotions, but to decide how you express them. Emotional control is a skill. Like any skill, mastering emotional control takes practice. Here are 3 ways to strengthen it. Pause before reacting. When faced with negativity, take a deep breath. Give yourself space to decide how to respond. If needed, walk away and address the situation later with a clear mind. Detach emotionally. Remind yourself that the words and actions of toxic people are a reflection of them, not you. Their negativity comes from their own struggles, insecurities, or frustrations. It's not personal, so don't take it personally. Use non-reactive communication. One of the most effective ways to disarm a toxic person is through neutrality. Instead of fueling the fire, respond with calm, short, and firm statements. Simple phrases like "I see your point," "I understand," or even silence can stop a toxic person from escalating the situation. Your peace is your power. Emotional control is not about being passive, it's about protecting your peace. The stronger your ability to regulate your emotions, the less power toxic people have over you. They may try to provoke you, but when they realize they can't get a reaction, they lose their influence. By mastering emotional control, you shift from being easily triggered to being deeply composed. You stop giving your energy to those who don't deserve it and start focusing on what truly matters: your growth, your goals, and your inner peace. Set clear boundaries. One of the most effective ways to stay unbothered by toxic people is to set clear boundaries. Many people feel drained by negativity because they allow too much access to their time, energy, and emotions. Boundaries are the invisible lines that protect your mental and emotional well-being. Without them, toxic individuals will push, manipulate, and take advantage of you. But here's the key: boundaries are not about controlling others, they are about controlling yourself. You can't stop people from being toxic, but you can decide how much space they take up in your life. Why boundaries matter. Think of boundaries like a fence around your personal space. If you leave the gate wide open, anyone can walk in, track dirt inside, and drain your energy. But when you put up a strong, well-defined fence, you control who enters and how they interact with you. Setting boundaries isn't rude or selfish, it's necessary for your peace of mind. Toxic people often test limits. They overstep, demand, and guilt trip. If you don't establish clear boundaries, they will continue to push further. The good news: once you set and enforce strong limits, you become much harder to manipulate. How to set effective boundaries. Be clear and direct. Don't expect people to read your mind. If someone's behavior is unacceptable, communicate it clearly. Instead of saying, "I don't like when you do that," be specific: "I won't tolerate being spoken to disrespectfully." Learn to say no without guilt. Many people struggle with setting boundaries because they fear disappointing others. But remember, saying no to toxic behavior is saying yes to your well-being. You don't need to justify or over-explain. A simple "I can't do that" or "that doesn't work for me" is enough. Limit access to your time and energy. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to you. If someone constantly drains your energy, create distance. This might mean spending less time with them, blocking them on social media, or even cutting ties completely if necessary. Stay firm and don't waver. Toxic people will often test your boundaries to see if they can break them. If you set a limit and then backtrack, they learn that your boundaries are flexible. Stand by what you say, even if it makes others uncomfortable. Boundaries in action. Let's say you have a friend who constantly brings negativity into conversations. Every time you meet, they gossip, complain, or bring drama into your life. Instead of enduring it, you can set a boundary: "I value our friendship, but I can't engage in these kinds of conversations anymore." If they respect your boundary, the relationship improves. If they don't, you now know where they stand. Your boundaries define how others treat you. People will treat you the way you allow them to. If you accept disrespect, manipulation, or negativity, it will continue. But the moment you set firm boundaries and enforce them, toxic people will either adjust their behavior or leave. Either way, you win. By setting clear boundaries, you protect your peace, maintain your self-respect, and create a life where toxic people have little to no influence over you. Take responsibility for your reactions. One of the most overlooked yet most powerful ways to stay unbothered by toxic people is to take full responsibility for your own reactions. Most people believe that their emotions are controlled by others, that if someone insults them, they have to feel hurt, or if someone disrespects them, they have to get angry. But this mindset gives away your power. The truth is, while you can't control what others say or do, you can always control how you respond. No one has the ability to dictate your emotions unless you allow them to. The moment you stop blaming others for how you feel and start owning your reactions, toxic people lose their influence over you. Why your reaction is your responsibility. Imagine someone cuts you off in traffic. Your immediate reaction might be frustration or anger, but why? The event itself was neutral, just a car changing lanes. Your emotional response comes from your interpretation. They did it on purpose. They don't respect me. This is unfair. These thoughts fuel the anger, not the action itself. Now, imagine a different perspective. What if the person cutting you off was rushing to the hospital for an emergency? Your interpretation would change, and suddenly you wouldn't feel angry anymore. The same event, two completely different emotional responses because of your perception. This example proves an important truth. Your emotions are not caused by other people, but by how you interpret their actions. Once you understand this, you gain the ability to control your reactions rather than letting toxic people manipulate you into feeling upset, angry, or insecure. How to take control of your reactions. Pause before responding. When faced with a toxic person's negativity, the first and most important step is to pause. Instead of reacting instantly, take a deep breath and ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Most of the time, you'll realize that engaging in their negativity only drains you, while staying calm keeps you in control. Detach emotionally. Toxic people often try to provoke an emotional response because it gives them power. If they can make you feel angry, sad, or defensive, they've won. But what happens if you stay indifferent? If their insults or manipulations don't affect you, they lose their ability to control you. Practice emotional detachment by reminding yourself their words say more about them than they do about me. Change your perspective. Often, toxic people behave the way they do because of their own insecurities, frustrations, or struggles. This doesn't excuse their behavior, but it helps you realize that their negativity isn't a reflection of you, it's a reflection of them. Instead of taking their actions personally, view them with a sense of detachment. They are acting this way because of their own issues, not because of me. Choose where to direct your energy. Your energy is one of your most valuable resources. Every time you engage with toxic people, argue with them, or let their words get under your skin, you waste energy that could have been used for something productive. Ask yourself, is this person worth my time and attention? Most of the time, the answer is no. The best response is often no response at all. Practice emotional resilience. Emotional resilience means being able to face negativity without letting it affect your inner peace. One way to develop this is through exposure and response training, deliberately putting yourself in situations where you practice staying calm. For example, the next time someone tries to provoke you, make it a personal challenge to remain unshaken. The more you practice, the stronger your emotional control becomes. The power of ownership. When you stop blaming others for how you feel and start taking full responsibility for your reactions, something incredible happens. You become immune to toxicity. No longer are you controlled by the opinions, insults, or manipulations of others. You realize that your peace, happiness, and confidence are entirely in your own hands. By mastering your responses, you don't just protect yourself from toxic people, you rise above them. Instead of being easily shaken, you remain calm, confident, and completely in control. Focus on growth, not resentment. One of the biggest traps people fall into when dealing with toxic individuals is getting stuck in resentment. When someone wrongs us, manipulates us, or drains our energy, it's easy to replay the situation over and over in our minds. We dwell on what they said, how unfair they were, and how they made us feel. But here's the hard truth. Holding on to resentment doesn't hurt them, it only hurts you. While you waste mental and emotional energy thinking about their negativity, they move on with their lives. Meanwhile, you remain stuck in frustration, bitterness, or even anger. The way to truly free yourself from toxic people is not just to avoid them or set boundaries, but to shift your focus entirely from resentment to growth. Instead of asking, why did they treat me this way? Ask, what can I learn from this? Instead of saying, I wish they would change, say, I will use this experience to become stronger. Why resentment is a waste of energy. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks. Every rock represents a grudge, a painful memory, or a toxic interaction. As long as you hold on to that weight, you slow yourself down. But the moment you let go, you feel lighter, freer, and more capable of moving forward. Toxic people want you to stay emotionally invested in them. They want to take up space in your mind and control how you feel. But when you refuse to let resentment consume you, they lose that power. Instead of focusing on how much they've hurt you, shift your focus to how much you can grow from the experience. Ask yourself, what did this situation teach me about my boundaries? How did this person reveal areas where I need to become stronger? What can I do differently next time to avoid getting pulled into negativity? By reframing negative experiences as lessons, you transform them into stepping stones for your personal development. How to shift your focus to growth. Accept that you can't change them. One of the biggest sources of frustration is expecting toxic people to change. But the reality is some people thrive on negativity, and no amount of reasoning, kindness, or effort on your part will change that. The moment you accept this, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of trying to fix or understand them. Instead, redirect your focus toward improving yourself. Turn pain into progress. Every difficult interaction is an opportunity to become stronger. If someone disrespects you, it's a chance to practice standing up for yourself. If someone tries to manipulate you, it's a chance to sharpen your awareness and emotional intelligence. The very things that challenge you are the things that shape you into a more resilient person. Use your energy wisely. Your energy is like money, spend it wisely. Imagine waking up with a limited amount of mental and emotional energy each day. Would you rather spend it dwelling on toxic people, or would you rather invest it in your goals, passions, and self-improvement? Make the conscious decision to put your energy where it truly matters. Surround yourself with growth-oriented people. The best way to move forward is to surround yourself with people who inspire you, challenge you in a healthy way, and bring positivity into your life. Toxic individuals pull you into drama and negativity, but growth-oriented people lift you higher. Seek relationships that push you toward becoming your best self. Forgive, but don't forget. Forgiveness isn't about letting toxic people off the hook, it's about setting yourself free. Holding on to resentment keeps you emotionally tied to them. Forgiving doesn't mean excusing their behavior or letting them back into your life. It simply means choosing to let go of the emotional weight so you can move forward. Your future is more important than your past. At the end of the day, the best way to stay unbothered by toxic people is to focus so much on your own growth that their negativity becomes irrelevant. Instead of being trapped in resentment, you move forward with wisdom, strength, and confidence. Toxic people may have been part of your past, but they don't have to define your future. When you choose growth over bitterness, you reclaim your power, and nothing is more unbothered than that.